Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? How are you doing? I hope this video finds you well and comfortable, and your thirst is quenched, and your hunger is sated. That's the right word, right? Sated? Sated? I never say that, you know. Just trying to sound smart. And in an effort to try and sound smart and sound dumb. Anyways, I do hope you guys are doing well, though. It's good to see you, and I thank you, I'm assuming, for the support while I've been away. I'm not really used to doing backlogs and stuff like that, so it's kind of iffy. I'm hesitant on it, so I hope the videos thus far have been okay. And yeah, we're going to continue on. So what I'm going to be doing in this episode, like I mentioned in the last one, is just kind of doing a little bit of cleanup on some of our past projects. And that's going to be including one of our very first ones, which is this little staircase we started in the first couple of episodes. We took it a good ways, but I'd like to get some more going. I don't think a lot of it's going to take quite as much time. We can just, most of this is just going to be rocks and stuff. We won't have parks like that so much. We might actually be able to get another kind of little mini park up here. So this is going to be one I kind of want to start focusing on. And depending on time, we might move on and work on some of the river if we're able to get this done. But I don't know. Let's see. I'm not going to rush it. I'm just going to go with the flow. So one thing I do need to do is fix up a bit of this path here, and just lower this guy down a little. So let's start with that. Just start with that for now. So there's no clipping. We don't want none of that clipping business. And you know what, as well, one of the things is because this stairwell is so long that it seemed unreasonable. There should be more landings, so I feel like, maybe even this part, we can pull this out a bit, and then we can do some more fun little funky stuff with the stair. Maybe the stairwell kind of comes down this way, or comes down this way. Originally it was just going to go like this, but I don't quite like that. So maybe we do it over here, just because there's not going to be very many pathway intersections. If we do it over here, I feel like then we're introducing a potential clogged artery of an intersection here, because there's also going to be this one here, so it's going to be a lot of people moving in and moving out. So I feel like it might be better to have it connect on this side. So if that's the case, we can definitely accommodate that. So we've first of all got to pick the right, it's not the rustic gravel, it's the cobble. I just need to reduce the size down to 4. Yeah. And we'll get that to 90. Actually, we'll go to 45. But then we'll freehand it actually in some of these sections. But let's how do I want to do this? Go like that. Maybe we go like that. Let's just see here. We've got plenty of room to work with. I feel like oh, you know what? I do want it to be perpendicular, though. Once it does meet up here. That's going to be a thing. Right now, it's not perpendicular with that. Well, it doesn't have to be. It would be nice, though. Oh, snap this. What if instead of it even coming, what if it just does like almost like a 90-degree down this way? That might not be a bad idea. So, okay, well, let's, oopsies, get the train going. And push some of this stuff in. It's all good, it's all good. You know, you do stuff, you think it's a good idea, you come back later and you're like, yeah, but why not do it this way? Oh, I see. That might be a problem. Yeah. So if I get rid of this guy for now. There we go. That should do the trick. That's gonna do the trick. Okay. But of course, I didn't quite go far enough there. No worries. Quick fix. Actually, we gotta go down a little bit more too. Not a problem. Stop. 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 Hey, excuse me. And then we can do... Not sure where... Yeah, if we could connect it up there, that'd be fine. Have to figure out what... We got a lot of space on either side, to be honest. Well... Let me think here. We can get away with one more like that. Pull it up. Or maybe we go 45. Pull it down again. I think that'll work. See, it's kind of slightly offset there, which I'm not a huge fan of. I'm gonna want to fix that. So okay, let's undo this a bit as we go. And then do we bring it up? Now we go 1, 2. Actually, we could go like that. Go up again. That might work. It's not the perfect curve, but for now, it's okay. So what I'm going to do with the terrain is now have the terrain react to this and fill all this stuff in. So we're going to end up pulling out a lot more. But that's okay. That's okay. Just kind of go like this for starters. We don't want it to be too high. I don't think... I kind of want them to just be able to see maybe over the edge and see back over. Yeah. People making some noise out in the hallway. I apologize if you can hear that. Alright. Just gonna rough this out. This whole mountain, this is still very like this wall, like that's not how it's gonna be, I don't think. Just feel like I should mention that kind of stuff every once in a while. So much of this is still very rough. But that's okay. Alright. Let's move that out a little bit. Right there. Actually, we'll probably put some more rocks. We're gonna do that pretty much the whole way. Boom, 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 boom. cool. We'll dabble with that a little bit later. This little nubby, I'm not quite crazy about. There we go. So now we just created a whole bunch more rock workforce. But I kind of like that because as you're coming in here, you know, it just seemed like too organized by it coming straight down for such a, especially such a long stretch. So this, I feel, you know, it breaks it up into a little more manageable, interesting chunks. Comes up here, then it comes up there. Then you get a bit more of a stretch, and then it kind of goes there. And it's different lengths of elevation. I still need to fix that up. But you know what? We're going to ignore that one for now. We're going to ignore that one for now. Then it comes up. Bit of a break, bit of a break. Okay. So now, which part do I start? Actually, I'm going to start down here. Let's go to our scenery. Let's find our nature. Let's find our rocks. And we're just going to keep on keeping on. Like we always do. I'll start down here and I'll work my way. I'll work my way up and down as I please. It's the beauty of this, man. You can go at your own pace. We'll get it. Oh man, somebody. The dude in the building apartment unit across the hall. He's smoking the reefer again. I don't have any issues with the reefer. I just don't like smelling it in my apartment. Particularly if I'm, you know, it's like one thing if like you're smoking it and you smell it. It's like, well, you know, you made your bed. Like, if you don't want the smell of it, don't smoke it. I just like, you know, I like to have control over what my apartment smells like. That's mostly it, you know. When you live in an apartment building, I know some people are like, they're cooking stuff and it goes into the hallway, all that. But like, the smell of weed is it very quickly enters my apartment. So it's kind of why it's like, it's just annoying, man. But I don't want to sound like a whiny baby, but maybe you guys feel the same way. You're like, yeah, no, that's kind of annoying. Like, I don't know. It's like I like food, but I don't necessarily always want to smell everybody else's food in my apartment, right? And this might end up making me hungry. Anyways. Enough of that. Now I'm sniffing hard. Maybe I'll get secondary high. Secondhand high. I'm gonna switch it up with these boulders a bit. Just to make sure it doesn't look the same in any really one spot. There you go. Just bit by bit. Okay, that's a good one. Turn it a bit, pull it out a bit more, maybe something like that. Yeah. Normally I would have considered maybe doing like a time lapse of this, but I haven't done this in such a while, and it's a part of the creative series where I really get to talk about whatever I want. You don't need me telling you, well, I'm gonna rotate this rock 22 degrees, and you know, you can see. I mean, when I'm doing the other stuff, maybe it, well, I hope so. It makes more sense that I'm kind of explaining a lot of the time what I'm doing, but for this, you know the routine. But it's been a while since I've done this, so that's kind of why I didn't want to do a time lapse, because I just want to talk to you guys. You know, 'tis the holiday season. I hope you're enjoying it and having a good time. I do kind of like, though, just to talk about what I'm doing right now, I do kind of like how this is not, it's sort of like slanted back a bit, so they're not going to feel too claustrophobic as they're walking up. You know, it's not going to feel too tight. I hope. Yeah. There we go. And hey, it's, you know, it is one of those seasons where a lot of people, you know, you got your rituals, your tradition. Rituals sounds like some kind of satanic gathering, but you know, the things you do, yeah, traditions. What I want to know, what are the movies that you traditionally like to watch around this time of the year? Mine, I've been asked. I like to watch Christmas Vacation. That's been one I've been watching since I was a young lad. I enjoy Christmas Story. Nightmare Before Christmas is solid. What else? There's actually quite a few. And now I'm all of a sudden drawing a blank. Oh, you know, all the cartoon kind of old ones, Rudolph and Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown. All that stuff. But, you know, I already know what I like. I want to know what you guys watch. Remind me in the comments and I'll be like, oh yeah, I watched that one. You know, I might be watching it at the very moment that you make the comment. So I want to know. Let me maybe fix this little doohickey. Oh, the rocks. That's right. Wait. There we go. Scenery lock. It's causing me problems. There we go. We'll tweak that a little bit more, perhaps. Yeah, let's get it down. And let's get some more rocks in there. Oh, I like how that one's gonna kind of cap it off quite nicely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And sneak that guy right like so, and then we'll get a couple small doohickeys. Just like so. I do want to kind of get something up here. Maybe I don't want to necessarily be quite so large and in charge. But at the same time, it's a bit better. I just keep adding more and more rocks. But, you know, and once we actually, yeah, I should stop maybe adding some. We get bushes and whatnot, but right there on this very edge, I definitely want a bit more there. This might be too big. Actually, this could work if I do it right. Just right. Kind of like that. Bam. Also, addendum to the movies. What kind of snacks do you eat? What's your your holiday dinners? What are they like? You know, just things you do in general. Do you do eggnog? Do you do hot apple cider? I don't know, but I want to know. And I ought to know. And you ought to know. You ought to tell me. No, you don't have to tell me anything, but I'm interested. I like to see how other people go about their lives. You know, I think it's pretty cool, and it gives me good ideas for things I'd like to try. Hey, I never tried that. Sounds like something I'd like to try, and then I try it. Maybe I do like it, maybe I don't like it. Maybe I try it again just to make sure one way or the other. All right, this is coming along. So yeah, we don't want them too tall here. I could do a railing. I mean, safety first. But we could stack up a few more rocks to act as the natural railing if we really want. Maybe just beef it up a bit. There. Something like that. Something like that. And I'm flies. Like, I don't know how people, again, this is not a criticism. This is just a personal observation, anecdotal evidence. I don't know how people can record relatively short episodes of stuff for YouTube. This is like, my mind's always, I'm like, it's racing. It's like, oh, I got a million things to do. I want to feel accomplished in each episode, so that people's time is not wasted, sort of thing. But it's weird. It's different. It's different when I'm recording, and I almost go on a weird autopilot, I guess. And when you're watching somebody, so like I'll watch somebody else's, and it'll be 20 or 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, it seems longer when you're watching it, I guess, than when you're recording. And maybe that's the thing. I just need to keep that in mind. But again, I'm not with the creative series. We are going to get into tweaking, and I'm going to run it and operate it eventually as close to challenges as I can. And by that, I mean just realistically, you know, pricing things out and whatnot. But it's just nice being able to do all this design stuff on the forefront, not the forefront, but the onset. So I don't have to earn a bunch of money and struggle for a million years. We are doing a challenge series, challenge mode. I've told this to you many times, but I want to finish up the career first. I'm committed. So, but yeah, that'll be faster paced for sure. Or not faster, but just like there's more action and stuff to it, less design in the immediate stages. But once we have a ton of money, then we can come back in the challenge mode and start to make it look like a nicer park. I think that's how I'm gonna go about it. Dun, dun, dun. Nice and easy. Also, at this point, I've revised. You would have noticed a few episodes ago, but I have revised the thumbnail for all the Planet Coaster stuff. I'm doing it for like a lot of other episodes of other things too. We've got some made up for things I want to get going in the new year once I'm back in the apartment to record some stuff. And yeah, I like this though. We went with the whole Bob Ross thing for the creative series. It made sense, right? Because a lot of people find kind of some parallels. Just nice and relaxing. We're just doing our thing, going at our own pace, right? And I'm not trying to be Bob Ross. I'm just doing myself. When I talk for an hour or two at a time, I'm not going to be super energetic. I'm just going to kind of relax. Plus Bob Ross, the thing with him was because he was the drill sergeant, right? And he hated having to yell at people. So apparently that's the whole show with him was, he just did not, want to come across like that former drill sergeant self. And I respect that. It's no fun yelling at people or sometimes it's okay. It's like a YouTube video. It's like a little drama, whatever movie. And you're like, haha, it's kind of funny. It's so intense and stuff. But really, in real life, when you see somebody that you know and you care about getting yelled at, you're just like, oh man, that's just that's awkward, or that's painful to watch, right? So it's yeah, yelling, we don't need it. The problem is half the time when we try to to get our point across, sometimes people don't listen, right? Ooh, I just like how those two rocks link together. And you're really passionate about something. You're like, please listen, you're not understanding, and then it kind of naturally escalates from there. And It's a bummer because a lot of people have some really cool, really smart ideas, and they just don't get across because it just ends up turning into a shouting match, and it becomes very personal and blah, 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 you know. If we just stop yelling, we all used our indoor voices for a little bit, we might get some more work done. And save our vocal cords. Let's bring that guy up. But anyways, I think I'm gonna put in some of these rocks too. We'll put the like kind of half dead little bush. I can't remember what its name is, but we'll do that. It's kind of coming along. Get some other bushes on the edges and stuff. You guys know at this point you're like, we trust you, Fox. Like what you're doing right now, it's like but when it's all done, just like I always like to refer back to this. Like this is closer to done. Like this is at least this half of it, right? And you know what? It doesn't look half bad. It's not crazy, you know. We still maybe got some tweaking to do, but that's what the rest of this is. The level of completeness this will see. Okay, let's get some big uns. I think, let's see here. I think this guy will work quite well. Yeah, look at that. Just covering up the curb. I like having the curb because it's a good guide. Although sometimes we go over a little bit more than we should. But I want to, actually, no, we can stop test. We still need to build stairwell up there. I forgot all about that. You know, of course, you need to build the actual building and get all that stuff. But I'd like to see some people on this. I wanted to build like a tunnel here around that to hide that. Darn it. So I keep remembering all these other little things we need to do, and they take a lot of time to do. It's worth it though. It's worth it, I think. You know what? If there's only one person that's gonna watch this, and it's me, that's fine. I'm doing what I like. This is how I like to play. Well, not every video game, but it's just nice that I can actually just sit back with this, have such a good time playing so many hours of it, and really get excited about the end result. And it's the icing on the cake, the gravy, all the goodness. It's just like that there's so many other people that are like, hey, I kind of enjoy watching this guy slowly place rocks. Or try to figure out like a weird thing with this roller coaster, you know. He wants it specifically. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody mentioned it or asked in one of the comments on a few episodes ago, like, do you have OCD? Like, just not like, hey, you piece of shit, you got OCD? No, it's like, put nicely, but, I mean, it's a valid question, with how these episodes have been going. But no, I don't think so. I've never been tested for it, at least, but I'm quite positive I don't. A lot of people say like, oh, I've got OCD, but it really, like, I feel like that's, I'm not trying to sound overly sensitive, but I just feel like you shouldn't say you've got OCD if you don't, right? Like, we all can get kind of passionate or finicky about something, or we might have pet peeves. Doesn't mean you have OCD. It's just, you know, it's one of those things, like, it's a medical condition, and I just feel like, you know, but no, as far as I know, I do not. I am fairly detail oriented. I have been from a younger age. Part of that's, you know, my dad's always been kind of a fairly clean, organized dude, as well as my mom, both actually. My mom is more, I guess she's on like the creative arts sort of side. She used to paint and stuff like that, and one of my brothers as well is very talented artist. animator and all that kind of stuff. And my dad is more in the math sort of side, and he's creative in terms of problem solving. So that's kind of where I see a lot of myself in both of them, which is pretty crazy. Physically, I mean, most people would say, "Oh, you look like your mom." That's true. But you know, I take stuff from both of them. I think probably most people do from their parents, and it's nothing bad about that, you know. And yeah, I just think it's an interesting combo. And then of course, I have 2 older brothers and an older sister, so years of being around them, and you know, their habits and hobbies and all that kind of stuff rub off. So I'm like the culmination of the rest of my immediate family, which is kind of cool, because they're a bunch of cool people themselves. You know, that's why I like trees so much. My one brother manages an arboretum, which basically is a tree garden. A very large garden full of trees. I mean, there are actual like flower gardens and stuff there as well, but it's yeah. So he'd always be talking about or dealing with plants and trees and stuff when he was younger, and of course, you know, me being the youngest, I just want to hang out with my older brothers and sister and do whatever they were doing, right? So if he was going on a walk trying to identify trees, you know, I'd kind of want to do the same thing. So sometimes he'd point out a tree, he'd be like, "Mikey, what's that tree?" Like, "Oh, okay, it's definitely a maple." Right? It's like, okay, well, that's easy, right? But like, what kind of maple? What kind of ash? What kind of oak? What kind of, you know, pine? What kind of spruce? You know, now I'm just naming off a bunch of random types of trees. But, you know, so he'd be like, "Well, okay, I think this is a black oak, because on the back of the leaf you can see like the little hairs, whereas the red oak doesn't have those," or something like that. Or like, "Oh, the white oaks, they have more rounded tips, whereas the red and black oaks, they have kind of pointed tips on the leaves." You know, just little things like that. So he'd always be kind of testing me and stuff. And it was, you know, we kind of made a game of it, and it's pretty cool. The same thing with my other brother. You know, a lot of the music that he listened to, I would listen to. I listened to music that all of my family listens to, but I would play video games in his room after like when I was in high school. He was in college, and he was doing graphic design, so I'd keep him company while he was doing his homework. I'd just be playing like Halo 2 or Halo 1 or Mech Assault or something like that. And he'd have music going, and he'd be doing his art, and he'd ask me, "Hey, Mikey, what do you think of this or that?" He'd get me to help critique him and stuff. So that's, again, where a lot of my interest in design comes from, was from seeing him do stuff, and him involving me in it. But as well, the music, we'd be listening to some sweet heavy metal, and interesting, just like weird stuff too. He's got a pretty wide interest in music, and that set in on me pretty early. And then my other brother's pretty big into alt and some indie stuff as well. And my sister's kind of into jazzy and, you know, like you know, like Frank Sinatra, and then just like she really likes Amy Winehouse, so on, so forth. Just like and my sister has a beautiful singing voice, absolutely beautiful. My mom, she always, whenever we'd be in the van as a kid, going to get groceries or something like that, she'd always listen to country music. Shania Twain, oh yes, baby. And my dad, whenever we'd be going somewhere, we would listen to classic rock on the radio, and I love that too. So I experienced a lot of music from each and every different family member. So it's cool. So I truly do like pretty much any style, genre of music. I'm fairly open, as long as it's kind of striving to be good at what it is. Like there's a lot of, you know, when I say I like metal, and honestly probably at least 50% of the music I do listen to is metal. and then like the other 50% is everything else. Um, people are like, oh, metal, oh, that's so bad. But the metal you hear on the radio, it's not good metal. It's like new metal bullshit. Like, it's not, I don't know. I'm working. I gotta do some Spotify playlists, so I'm gonna try and do some metal ones for maybe people who kind of want to like, venture maybe a little bit outside their comfort zone. But you can be assured, like, is, I would say, more or less, like, I guess, I feel weird saying critically acclaimed metal and stuff, but just stuff that's kind of considered by other well-known metal artists to be good metal as well. And if you don't like that, hey, you don't have to like it. You don't have to. But it's like sometimes some people are like, oh, you should listen to metal. You hear a random song and then you're put off forever. But it turns out that's like the worst band of all time doing it. You didn't get exposed right. It's like if I tell somebody, you know what, poutine is awesome, I love it, you should go eat it. And then you go to this place and they use like marble cheese and weird soggy crinkle cut fries and, just some kind of awful packaged gravy that's been sitting out for a week. You're not going to think poutine is all that great. You might be like, well, this still tastes okay. It's cheese and fries and gravy, but the real deal, oh man, it's a fair bit different. You know what? I've been talking about that. I haven't even been thinking about this. Just autopilot. It's coming along. Of course, the half hour is pretty much up, but what I'm gonna do is sprinkle a few little plants in here. But you see how this has come together. Just go back to the start of the episode when we just had this kind of framed out, and you're like, damn son. But now it looks nice. It's not perfect, and all that, but that's what makes it, to me, it's perfect the way it is, right? Because it's imperfect, perfectly imperfect. I'm gonna take a sip of my drink. I've been talking a lot. Oh boy. Thank you guys though for letting me just talk about random stuff. It's nice, and it makes this go a lot easier. I think I might do that in the next episode up here. Maybe we'll go, actually we'll do the river. We'll go and do the river, and then we can come back. We can yo funkin' blow. That's from a movie, Fubar. It's a mockumentary about a couple Canadian boys from Alberta, and it's funny, but you gotta remember it's a mockumentary, so it's made to look like a documentary, but it's fake. It's a mockery. So these are the bushes I was talking about, right? What are they called again? The curiosity. I'm not even gonna try and say it. But for the ones like that are right in the rocks, we can use these half-dead ones because they're barely getting any nutrition, but they're just sort of holding on a little bit. You can go extra dead, kind of. I don't know where's a good spot for this one. I don't quite like it there. Let's get one that's a little bit, we got to get the healthy ones kind of on the edge too, just so you can see. So you can see. Maybe get another slightly healthy one going here. This wall, I'm going to come back and do some carving, or doing this specifically just with the terrain, because I kind of like it sort of having that there. I don't want to bring rocks all the way up though. I might put a couple on top or something, but we can carve it, chisel it, do some funky stuff with it. And let's get a few more Actually, if I go... Let's see here for a second. I just want to go like... Flatten this a bit so I can get a tree or something. Reasonably. Right there. Alright, let's soften this part up a bit so that doesn't look quite as funky. Alright, and same with that transition. Get a little scenery. What kind of tree? What kind of tree? Nothing too large. We might go with more of the same. Could go with the sycamore. Go with the smaller one. So this is the medium? Yeah. Could do smaller sycamore. There's also there's a small oak in there? Actually, wait, is this the small oak? Or is this the same size? Sometimes it's hard to tell. Actually, it might be the same size. But you know what? I kind of want to... maybe sneak this guy in there. See if we can overhang it a little bit. Yeah, I like that. So as they're going up, it kind of forms a canopy over it, which I think is quite nice. And then we can get a few bushes and just get them around. Get them around it. Let's see here. Something like that. Actually, we can use the same one, just rotate it a bit and pull it out a little bit more, maybe? Yeah. I am going to push you down a little bit. There. And get a couple more bushes there. Let's see. Can we mix it up a little bit? Forest bush. Well, it's nothing too big. Although we could just go like that. Most of it's... yeah, that works really quite nicely. And then just to fill in this back part here, we can go like that. You know, I wanted it to seem kind of naturalized, like not too manscaped. Like maybe they specifically planted, you know, a couple of these trees here, but then over time they just kind of let them go as they may, and let you know, maybe planted a bush or two, but then again don't really do much maintenance or upkeep on them. I kind of like that idea. What I also kind of like, maybe if we just get a little bit of this guy. This is one of my favorites, just because he's really good at kind of being a transition between a lot of other stuff, other bushes and such. We'll sneak this guy here. Maybe we do one more. Do one kind of like that. And one like that. And then, you know what? I'm actually going to go back to rocks just because I don't quite like how... Alright, let's see if I can get a good one. Okay, this might work. I want this to seem like it's almost hanging over the rock. Sitting on the rock a little bit. So we can get another one in here. Let's see if we can get one more. I know I'm using relatively large rocks for this, but sometimes that works best. There we go. That's a nicer kind of transition, right? Yeah? I like it. And you know what, though? I think... yeah, here I go, adding more rocks. I said I didn't want to. But I think I see an opportunity. Opportunity knocks once in a lifetime. Whoa. Just, I don't know, just kind of get that guy there. There you go. I'm just going to leave that as is. Again, I want to get assets in there. I want to do nice detailing, but we do need to be kind of restraining ourselves to an extent, because multiply that by, you know, all of this. Whoa, the arrow. Can you hear the sound? Is it just because I got the rock? Oh, it's just because I had the rock. That was cool, though. But yeah, multiply that by across the park, and that's a lot of individual assets and stuff to render, so I think this does an okay job of that part. See, it's slowly coming along. It doesn't... And now I know how, when Bob Ross is like, it's so easy, anybody can do it. Man, you just, it's true if you take enough time, I think. But I don't know. It's hard. It's what I don't know what's that's called. When somebody is so familiar with a subject or a topic or this or that it's hard for them to understand how other people could not grasp that concept or understand it as well as they do. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. But I like how this has turned out. I'm glad that we changed it to come down like that. I think it just creates a much more interesting space rather than having it a solid, straight, you know, jut down there. But anyways, that episode went quite quickly. I'm going to have to cut it here because we do need to keep them short. But I will see you in the next one. And you know what? Yeah, I think we're gonna come and work on this little riverside stuff as well. And I can talk about more stuff. We'll get some... We should finish up, hopefully, the rocks on a part of it. And maybe get some more bushes and trees along part of this as well. Just to be more like what we just did there. Just to kind of make it feel complete on, you know, parts of it. Not the whole thing, but we'll get there bit by bit. Because, yeah, I really like this area a lot, too. I want to come back and work on this a little bit more. And just get it going. Because, look it. When you get the water and you get up close. Oh, man. I should clean up this pathway, too. And then it'll really look nice. That's something else. Something else. I just love it. I could look at that all day. But that's going to do it. Like I said, I'm going to see you guys in the next episode. If you enjoyed this video, truly, sincerely, then maybe consider hitting that like button because it does help a fair bit. And you know what? I don't mind asking for help every once in a while. It's nice to help each other. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and hitting the little bell button beside it so you know when new videos are pushed out. But anyways, that's going to do it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next. Until then, peace out.